As promised, the United Auto Workers Union expanding its strike targeting General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford. All parts distribution centers are going to go on strike today. UAW President Shawn Fain says those centers will be on strike until, quote, those two companies, Ford's not in this mix of this round, they're in the original round, but those two companies come to their sense and come to the table with a serious offer. The strike against Ford Motor Company not expanding at least today as negotiations there have progressed some. Joining me now live with more academic research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, Joel Griffith. Joel, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we were just talking in the break. You grew up in Ohio, so one of the plants that's closed is the Jeep plant up in Toledo, kind of a famous plant for Chrysler Jeep over the years. There's also a plant closed in Wayne, Michigan, where they build the very popular Ford Bronco, and another plant that's closed in Missouri. But today, Shawn Fain, he expanded this strike dramatically. I think it's 38 plants, if I read correctly. I mean, he's going after these three companies. But even more concerning than that were emails that surfaced, that screenshots were taken inside a private chat session inside of X, used to be Twitter, basically saying, we're going to bring these companies to their knees for the next several months. We're going to teach these companies a lesson. And it came from the communications director of the United Auto Workers Union. They are not negotiating in good faith, Joel, from what I can tell. What are you seeing?
No, these big labor bosses have wreaked havoc on my home state and across the Midwest for decades. I grew up seeing these types of auto plants and assembly lines shuttered as companies moved to more favorable environments in places like South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee, where workers get a better deal because they're able to negotiate independently and where businesses do better as well. I'm saddened to see this. And what we're not hearing so much in the media are the offers that the big three have actually been making. They've been offering to increase wages upwards of 10% plus raises in the next few years that will meet or exceed, guaranteed, the inflation rate. And what's also not being said is that workers are earning $60 per hour on average with benefits. And what the unions are demanding would be an increase in wages of up to 40% over the next several years. And that could actually mean, in some instances, $150 per hour. Now, I know that sounds good on paper, but of course, when you're a business such as Ford that often operates on a 2% operating margin, if you increase those types of costs, you actually run the risk of shutting these factories down, losing out to competition in the United States and of course, also elsewhere. These big labor bosses are looking out for themselves and themselves alone.
Too much power, because I had somebody ask me today, well, can't the people, can't the rank and file, can't the employees go vote on what's been offered? Because some of the contract offers were 20% increases. Of course, as you pointed out, the original demand was for 46% increases. They backed that down to 36%, has the UAW, but they also want a 4-day work week. Joel, they want to work 4 days, get paid for 5 with a 36% increase on top of all of that. So really the effective raise is quite a bit higher. And look, with this transition to EVs being mandated by the government, which is another whole bag of worms, that's another big problem. This creates financial challenges. Ford already lost $4.5 billion this year alone trying to convert to EVs. This strike, if it does drag on for months, this could put people out of work, not just temporarily, but permanently, couldn't it?
Oh, it absolutely would. I mean, we're seeing those temporary layoffs now. When you get laid off because of a strike, you don't get your full pay. So these families are under the gun. And let's not diminish the fact, I understand families, whether they're auto workers or otherwise, they've seen very real pay cuts the last 2 years with the sky high inflation. And that's why the auto manufacturers actually have been offering raises to fully mitigate the loss that they saw from inflation. But when you see these union bosses behind the scenes saying they're going to try to bring companies to their knees, we got to think about who the victims are of that. It's not just the shareholders, not just the companies, it's the workers as well. And these unions would be far, I think, better off for both themselves and the companies that they were to push back against these insanely high fuel efficiency standards and the EV standards that are really making it difficult for businesses to actually stay profitable. What we need is to reduce those regulations, eliminate those mandates, and allow this whole sector to thrive.
And that's the key, Joel. If they want raises, whether it's 20% or 30%, whatever it is, the company has to thrive to foot the bill. They don't seem to understand that.